Hey everyone, it's Jay from Esports, and today I'm going to be bringing you my breakdown and predictions of the matches this weekend during the LCS mid-season showdown. If you like this kind of content, make sure to let us know by liking and subscribing and telling us down in the comments below. That being said, let's go into the first match on Saturday, which is EG versus TSM. This one I think is going to be a very close match because both teams have very different play styles, and it all really depends on how they draft. TSM on one hand is a very good team fighting team, one of the better ones in the LCS, as we've seen in their matches against teams like Cloud9.
Shuffles in three. Is that the team fight they need? Blabber stuck in the pit. In comes Hecarim. Team Smite Masterclass. You better believe it's going to be happening. That was beautiful. TSM crushed the battle. 4-2. Get out of here, Cloud9.
Whereas EG like to play in these side lane split pushing comps, where still keeping a good strong team fight. First off, in the mid lane, we have BlueJAy versus Power of Evil, two extremely different players with very different champion pools. Power of Evil loves his control mages, such as Azir, Orianna, Syndra, these high damage picks that have a lot of impact in team fights.
Dragon advantage, TSM got Herald. And Power of Evil's going in for BlueJAy, looking to grab the kill here with a flash forward in the Q auto, and Power of Evil gets...
BlueJAy, on the other hand, likes these strong lane champions that can push the wave and go to side lanes and be very strong in the side lanes late game, such as Echo, Ryze, maybe a mid lane Lucian or a mid lane Tristana. These very powerful lane picks that can create a lot of pressure on the side lanes. We've only seen this playstyle a couple of times from EG, but the times that it has come out, it's looked really good. So I think if they bring this out against TSM, they're going to look very strong in the late game. Hopping over to the top lane, we have two very strong top laners in Impact on EG and Huni on TSM. We used to see Huni on these carry top lane picks back in the day, but now on TSM, he's bringing out more teamfight oriented picks such as Gragas and Gnar, and it's looked very good for TSM, especially since they're a very strong teamfighting team, as I mentioned before. Impact, on the other hand, already has played these picks for a long time. He looks very good in these picks. I consider him to be the best top laner in LCS. He just has he's on another level. He just brings so much to the table in terms of team fighting and solo laning.
Impact goes into the three-man knockup. TSM is getting cut to pieces, and Evil Genius has made it happen.
So I think that Impact will have the upper hand in this matchup, but it's going to be very close still, and it's going to rely on how well these two can impact the team fights and late game. That matchup is going to be affected by the jungle players and how well they can translate leads from the top side and mid lane across the whole map. So let's talk about that jungle matchup, Svenskeren versus Spica. Svenskeren has overall looked pretty consistent this split and has translated Impact leads very well throughout the map. Spica, on the other hand, has looked, well, underwhelming. He's had very bad pathing in a lot of different matches and has lost a lot of smite fights.
Sword Art and all of TSM going after that. No way he does it back to back. Dardoch with the steal.
Now let's go into the bot lane matchup, where we have a very strong bot lane on the side of TSM being Lost and Sword Art. These two have looked very impressive throughout the entire split, especially Sword Art with his great roam timings. We've seen Lost do great things for TSM. He got a pentakill recently. He's had his great teamfight presence, and Sword Art, as I mentioned before, has had very good roams around the map. He, I think, is the strongest piece that TSM has. He and Power of Evil are going to be what TSM needs to play through to win this game. I do think TSM will win 3-2. However, what I'm saying is this match can go either way. It's very close, and it all is going to depend on how these teams draft for their playstyle specifically. Next match we have is Dignitas versus 100 Thieves, which I'm excited to watch because this 100 Thieves team still has a lot of questions around them that haven't been answered yet. But first of all, I want to talk about Dignitas and their very unique playstyle and how it's going to affect this draft. Now, we've seen Dardoch's very diverse champion pool in regular season, where he played 11 unique picks in all of the 18 games that were played. This diverse champion pool is something very interesting in terms of a best of 5, because it allows you to bring out a lot of different picks that you would not expect on normal team comps. Another thing Dignitas is going for them is their scrappy team fights. We've seen them win team fights that they probably should have lost just based off of single players making big plays, that being Neo, Dardoch, sometimes even Soligo or Fake God.
All stuck in the pit with Baron hitting him. Now he's just going to die, and it's time for Dignitas to clean up this fight. It's a 2-0 so far for Neo. They'll get the rest, no problem. The chase is in. Triple kill. Make it a quadra. Give him the pentakill! And I do believe it's the Bud Light Ace and a pentakill for Neo.
I think 100 Thieves is going to struggle against Dignitas' team fighting because 100 Thieves has looked very lost in team fights sometimes. And when you're lost in an already kind of crazy, scrappy team fight, it's not a good mix. Speaking of 100 Thieves and looking lost, they're in the middle of an identity crisis that started about a couple weeks ago and it has still continued on through the playoffs, especially seen in their last week's match against Cloud9.
An extra objective for Cloud9. What can't they do? They won't even die to the fountain. As a stopwatch comes down for Vulcan, keeps the Clutch Gaming flair. Well done to the 2.
They recently swapped in their mid laner from Academy named Ryoma. The reason they did this is because they wanted to play more control mage styles in the mid lane, things like the Orianna and the Azir that Damonte, their old mid laner, didn't look great on. However, this team fight that supposedly would be better with these control mage picks hasn't come up. It's given them a weird path to go down because they haven't looked great on it in these weeks.
Welcome back to the LCS, Ryoma. You are delivered a loss immediately at the hands of EG.
Because I think they're missing one very important thing, and that is a leader in game. Damonte was this leader for them. He couldn't play these mid lane control style mages, but he did play the very strong side lane impact champions like Galio and TF. And when 100 Thieves was playing around this playstyle, they looked very good. And we saw very aggressive level 3 dives with even a TP from Someday coming in the very early weeks of LCS. Now, a lot of people are saying this style is easy to counter if you're expecting it, and it was a little evident that teams were expecting 100 Thieves to do this and were ultimately able to play around that. While I know they're not going to, I think their best option would have been to bring back Damonte and play around his picks into the team because he was their in-game leader. He was their shot caller. Now, without Damonte, they looked kind of lost. They're relying on Huhi to make the calls, and while Huhi's a great player, I don't think he was the primary caller and the primary teamfight engage. This bot lane matchup is going to be one to watch. And I feel like these teams are going to put a lot of resources into the bot lane and try and play through these bot laners. Because when you have bot laners as good as Neo and FBI are, you should play through them.
Is not a lot of early game power.
Pretty big engage, though. Sticks are getting jumped on by every single person possible. Double kill for the explosion!
Now, the way these teams should play through their bot side is through their junglers. Having their junglers bot side and trying to get early dragons is going to help propel their bot laners forward and try and win through their bot lane. Now, these junglers being Dardoch and Closer. Dardoch, as I mentioned earlier, has a very diverse champion pool, and this should help him get the upper edge against Closer.
Dignitas, Dardoch's finally going to walk up and look to check this when he's got Saligo behind him. Baron's down to 2K. Dardoch's trying to go in. Dardoch's in the pit, he got it!
Closer, similar to 100 Thieves as a whole, started very strong and was considered a top 3 jungler in LCS, but has kind of fizzled out recently. I think Dignitas will take the game 3-1 over 100 Thieves because of their unique drafting style and 100 Thieves just looking lost in team fights.